Sherry Lynn here. Welcome back to my channel. Today's recipe is perfect if you're entertaining. It's super easy to make, but it looks fancy, so it does a nice presentation when you're serving it to your guest. It's a garlic herb roasted pork tenderloin. I think you guys are absolutely gonna love it. Check it out. So jumping right into this recipe, you're gonna need about a 2.5 to 3 pound pork tenderloin. And there is a difference between loin and tenderloin, so make sure you get the tenderloin. They generally come 2 in a pack. This recipe is for the whole package. If you want, you can only cook one of them and cut all these ingredients in half. Freeze the other section and you got another meal for another day. I'm gonna cook the whole thing because we're good eaters. You're gonna need 3 garlic cloves. You're gonna need 4 tablespoons of butter. You're going to need about 3 tablespoons of sage, thyme, rosemary, and oregano. If you don't have fresh like I'm using, you can use dried, but that would be reduced down to 1 teaspoon of the dried ingredients. You're gonna need some extra light olive oil and a teaspoon of dried basil and salt and pepper, and that's it. Our first step is to salt and pepper the pork tenderloin, and we're gonna go ahead and sear it. So let's get this open right now. And there's one of the loins, and there's the second loin. You will want to go ahead and cut any extra fat that's on there off. So I'm going to go ahead and do this now. If you have this part on your tenderloin, you'll want to take that off as well. Yeah, and this one's got one too, so I'm going to take that off right there. And to do that, you just slip your knife underneath it and kind of pull it off. All right, so now that the fat's off and we washed our hands, the next step is to salt and pepper both sides generously of the pork tenderloin. Kind of give that a rub in. Flip it and do the same thing to the other side. And now we're going over to the oven. We're gonna preheat that to 400 degrees and we're going to get a skillet ready and start to sear these. So let's head over there. You'll want to take your extra light olive oil and just do a little drizzle in the pan. And you're just gonna want to heat this up until it starts to shimmer. While this is heating up, you're gonna want to line a glass baking dish with some aluminum foil. We're actually going to be wrapping the tenderloin in the foil to bake. So it'll look about like this when you're done. And just set that aside for now. You want to make sure that the oil spread evenly around the pan. Once you start seeing the oil pull away from the pan, you know it's hot enough. It should start to be simmering, like a little bubbling action going on. Go ahead and put your pork tenderloin in there. And you're going to want to sear this until it's golden brown on both sides. Usually takes about 10 minutes, and you do want to flip it about every 3 minutes and make sure to get all 4 sides. While we have the pork tenderloin searing, you're going to want to go ahead and put all of your herbs in a small bowl. And go ahead and mince up your 3 cloves of garlic right into this bowl. Make sure to flip your tenderloin after the 3 minutes. While you're waiting to flip it again, you're going to want to take your 4 tablespoons of butter and cut it into about 6 little slices. Just like that. Go ahead and mix this stuff up in the bowl. And let's go back and flip our tenderloin again. And the last side. Okay, now that this is golden brown on all 4 sides, you want to go ahead and turn it off. Bring over your baking dish and just go ahead and put the pork tenderloins right in that pan. They should be looking like this. And now we're gonna go ahead and top it with the herbs that we have prepared. And just take a big handful and rub it on. And you do wanna leave it on there pretty generously. Go ahead and do the next one. All right, so it should look like that now. And the last step before putting it in the oven is to go ahead and put 3 of your butter slices on each tenderloin. And what that does is it actually like self-bastes it while it's cooking in the oven. So now just go ahead and wrap this up into a little foil packet like this. And now we're gonna pop this into the oven. You wanna cook it till it's 145 internal temperature, and then we're gonna let it rest for 5 minutes, which will bring it to 150. That's the lowest temperature that you should eat pork at. I actually like mine a little bit more done, so I'm gonna cook mine to an internal temperature of about 150 and let it rest to 155. So let's get this in the oven. And I'm setting my timer for 25 minutes. So how easy is that, right? So we're gonna cook this for 25 minutes. We're gonna take it out. We're going to let it rest covered for 5 more minutes and it should be perfect. I'm gonna start cleaning up the kitchen a little bit and I'll be back when it's ready to come out of the oven. So after your 25 minutes, you're gonna wanna go ahead and take it out of the oven. Let it set for 5 minutes. So it's been 5 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up, transfer it to a plate. And then what I like to do is pour the butter and drippings into a little bowl. And there's your pork tenderloin. Let's go ahead and cut it open. And then I like to cut this into thin slices, but cut it whatever thickness you'd like. And then once I have it plated up, I like to take some of that butter and just sprinkle it on top. And there you have it. Doesn't it look fancy? And it tastes so good.